One of the things that we try to help people see, and you kind of alluded to it, is aptitude and motivation are like the two greatest factors that I would look for over skill and experience and knowledge. You can teach people stuff. If they're ultimately truly engaged and hungry, they will learn it. They'll take it on themselves. And those that aren't, it's the whole horse to water analogy.
Yeah, completely agree. And tied to that, I mean, I think that risk mitigation example is really important because it ties to another one of the intrinsic issues that a lot of organizations have, and it's lack of really good workforce planning.
Right.
So there's something looming. You're not really aware of how many people you're going to need. And then when you need somebody like yesterday. And
Right.
you need somebody who can come in and just start doing the work because your team's overwhelmed. They're short-staffed. They've been short-staffed for a year. We didn't plan ahead for this. We couldn't get the budget. Now we have the budget again, and we got to get it before we lose that budget. And so exactly to your point, we need to just plug and play somebody to come in and do that. But I mean, it reminds me of, I can't remember what the stat was exactly, but you would have all these leaders who got poached, superstar leaders getting poached from other organizations. And the research really kind of showed that they needed 18 months to be effective because it wasn't necessarily just that one person. It was the system around them that either they built or the organization supported that allowed them to be successful. So you can't take somebody who's amazing in one organization and plug in them to an organization that's built completely differently, the completely different mission, vision, and values, and completely different culture, and think they're going to be just as good right away.
Right.
They'll try, or that person who's such a rock star would be like, no, thank you. This is not what I expected. I'm out of here. So there's just so much that really needs to go into thinking through, at what level am I going to invest in this person and make sure that they're given the opportunity to onboard with that ramp up period that's realistic. I think about organizations where I worked where we did like a skills-based pay for field employees. So I worked at one organization where we had field installation techs, and they would go out and they would put satellite dishes on houses. So you can guess one of the two probably where I worked, right?
Right.
But when they came on board, there was a very specific plan to build. So we brought them in at one salary. They would go through some training, demonstrate that skill, get a raise. Demonstrate the skill, get a raise, because the more skills they had, the more different types of call outs we could put them on for truck rolls to be able to go and do a certain kind of installation. And we had all the skill sets. We could put you on the really funky ones where there's no line of sight and you have to figure out those things. It was such a great program because it incented people to get those skills. It helped the organization. And there is a well-known sort of time frame for which we would know that we would have a field service tech who was fully capable of doing whatever we needed them to do. You never see that in an office environment. You see it in manufacturing, you see it in call centers, you see it in field employees. You hardly ever see it in a corporate environment. And part of it's a little squishy, I get that, but why do I expect that this HR rep who just started, who maybe came with a degree and some experience, you pluck them down in the middle of a crisis where half of the leadership team got fired because of a harassment issue? Good luck.
Yeah.
And there's no support for that person. Why would we be surprised that there's burnout and high turnover in some of these environments when you've given them no support?